And you can see she's just walking in place, and that's all good. But now let's make her actually walk forward. Okay, so here, and we'll move this up out of the way so you can see. So now we're going to go all the way to the top here again to the globals. Okay, so I've got this globals area here, and you can see what it says is that it's walking on spot, right? So it's just staying in place as it walks. But now what we'll do is we'll make it walk on a line. You can actually put a path for it, and we'll talk about that some other time, to where, if you want her walking, around, up hills, down around something, whatever, you can determine the path that your character walks in. Right now, it's just a straight line. You can see how it's going. Pretty good, right? But wait a minute, Mr. Coon. We have that, but we had her sitting in the chair. How do I go from making her sit in the chair to standing up like this and walking? Okay, let's work on that a little bit. I think I can close this down. So, cat animation layers. You can weight the different layers and you can animate them. So let's do this. We're going to go over here to the auto key. And right now, this cat animation layer is at 100%. And, or the motion layer, I should say. And also the animation layer is as well. Now, the only thing that's really screwy is that everything else that I've ever seen shows the thing that you see is on top. Well, this one for some reason has it underneath. The thing that's on the bottom is the thing that you're going to see. That's just weird, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the amount of this layer, the amount that we see of it. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is this, is that here in the global weights, I'm going to take this down to 0 right here. I've got my slider all the way over here at the end, and I'm going to take that down to 0. Okay, so she's sitting in the chair. So then she's getting up, and that's it, right? We don't see anything else. So we need to make the global weight go back to 100 so we can see her walking. So remember, by keeping things even, I can remember and know where things are at. So she was fully standing up. I had her at 75 frames. So that's the time when I could maybe begin making her transition into that walk stage. So I think at, let's say, at 75 frames, I want to set that at 0 again. I want another keyframe. So what I'll do is my old trick of just doing a little jig jog right here. So jig jog, right, back to 0. Okay. And then, by about, let's say, 75, 85, we'll give ourselves just a little bit of room to play with. So by 95, that was 75, 85, 95, that's 20 frames. So less than a second. I'm going to set that back up to 100. Okay, wow, but look at, it's really traveled pretty far in that time, so that's not going to work out very well. So let's do this. What we're going to do is go back to this right here, the Cat Motion Editor, and we're going to change, back here to the global weights, we're going to change the start of our animation, move it over a little bit. So how about we start it at about, so that she's fully standing up at 75. That seems like a good place to start it then. Okay, so at 75 frames is where we'll start. Okay, let's see what difference that makes. So she's going, and you can see at 75 is where she starts to move. Now that's not too bad right there. You could be done maybe at that point. But if we take a closer look, she goes, and then she has a little bit of an ice skating effect right there as she gets started. I think that we can do it just a little bit better. So far what we've done is we've only worked with the global weights. What we can also do is work on the local weights. So in other words, the global weights put a keyframe here basically for everything in the skeleton. what we could do is we could pick just part of the skeleton. So let's say, for instance, we start on that leg that's up front, the yellow one. So let's go ahead and select that. Okay. And once again, I'm going to roll that up. And here at 75, this up a little bit here. This global weight, or this local weight, is at 100. So I'm going to set this down to 0. And back here, I'm also going to set this one down to 0, just to keep it clean. So that's 0, 0, 0. It's not doing anything special. And then at about 75, you'll see that it's still at 0, because we haven't changed it. So now what I have to do is determine, okay, you see how it's stretching out there? So what did we do the other one? At the other one, we had it at 90. We had it at 100. Well, I thought we did. There it is right there. Let's go. Oh, it was 95. That's right. So let's see what happens if we adjust that. So let's see. Somewhere around there. So at 90, did that help or hurt? Okay, I think we didn't go quite enough. So here's 75. It's at 0. And we want it to be, here's at, let's say 85. We want it to be still back a little bit further, right? So I'm going to lower this local weight. And you see how that's bringing that foot back a little bit more to how it was. Still a little bit ice skatey, and it just really depends on how much do you want to screw around with this thing. How much time do you want to spend? Okay, so here it is. And it's going up, up, up. Okay, so somewhere, where did that 73 kick in? There it is. Let's bring that up to 100% at that point. Yeah, not bad. A little bit ice skatey, but not as bad as it was. Let's see here. Right about maybe here. Bring it back just a little bit. Anyways, in this tutorial, I don't want to waste your time just having me fiddle back and forth. And once again, look, maybe you don't even see her feet. So it's not going to be that big of a deal if it's slightly ice skatey. So not too bad. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. I'll go back. I'll turn off my auto key. And I'm going to go back to my perspective view here. And I think I'll make the bones disappear. So I'm going to go to the pelvis. And I'm going to select the children. I'm also going to expand the selection so I can get to everything. And I'm going to turn all those off. And then at the same time, though, I am going to turn these ones all at the head back on. So here and on, and that's good. And then the body, that was still Alt-X'd, so we'll click on the body here, Alt-X. And is she back? Yeah, looks like she's all back to normal. Let's see what it looked like. Okay, all the way back to the beginning. And she gets up. And then she starts walking. Like I say, it's a little ice skatey, that one first step. That's the kind of thing you might want to mess with, or might not. So I want to check. Yeah, I'm at full speed. All right, not too bad. So I think the next thing that we'll do is not only will we have her walk, we're going to have her stop and turn. So that way you can go, that's really pretty much the holy grail. That's everything. Just from one position to a walk to a final position. And that's plenty enough to get you through a scene. Okay, well, good luck with that. And I think the best thing to do too is save different versions, right? So as you're working on something, save it. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Save As, and I'm going to make sure that I'm in my H drive, my student drive, and in my scenes, and I'm going to save it as just the same as before. We've got, my last name, my first name, my project 4B, cat, motion, but now on top of that motion, I'm going to put walking. And I'm just going to say save. And yes, that's overwriting the existing one that I had already made. All good. Okay, so in the next one, we'll just make her turn around, and then I'm even looking forward to showing you how to get those cameras doing some new things.